Nigeria heading for financial collapse if borrowing spree continues. Expert warns Tinubu governors. Good day to you, my dear listeners, from wherever you're listening from. Here is an interesting news coming to your listening ears today. So before I go into the full details, kindly please ensure you like, subscribe to this channel and share. A professor of disaster management and humanitarian studies and country director of Goal Prime Organization Nigeria, Professor Christopher Chinedu has called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, state governors and members of the National Assembly to end what he described as Nigerians' dangerous dependence on borrowing to fund governance. Chinedu Muije stated that President Tinubu, state governors, and members of the National Assembly are operating a survival economic system in Nigeria, emphasizing that the country can be productive without borrowing. He made the call in an open letter titled "Stop the Borrowing. Nigeria must breathe on its own," and addressed to President Tinubu, governors of the 36 states of the Federation and members of the National Assembly. He said that Nigeria cannot continue to borrow to fund the national budget, noting that the cycle is fiscally irresponsible, economically unjust, and morally indefensible. As we commemorate 2 years into the renewed Hope administration and at states begin preparing their 2026 budget, one truth must be accepted without excuses. Nigeria cannot continue to borrow to fund the national budget. This cycle is fiscally irresponsible, economically unjust, and morally indefensible, he stated. Chinedu Muije cited alarming economic statistics. He stated that in the first quarter of 2025, debt servicing consumed a large chunk of the federal retained revenue, raising urgent questions about the sustainability of Nigerian public finances. He said, "We are borrowing to pay salaries. We are borrowing to run ministries. We are borrowing to maintain a bloated, inefficient government. This is not governance. It is low national asphyxiation." He criticized the unimplemented Oronsaye report, which recommended merging redundant agencies, potentially saving 862 billion naira over a decade. Chinedu Muije urged Tinubu to devolve development plans and actions to the state and the local government that are closer to the people who lives and businesses require urgent interventions. He said the president needs to assign clear constitutional responsibilities for primary health care, basic education, and rural infrastructure to state and local government areas with funding to match, establish state and local government area development coordination councils empowered to manage donor projects and national social investment, incentivize state-led innovations through competitive development grants from the federal government and development partners. He noted that failure to act decisively and urgently would portend more dangers to the nation's economy and its people. He stated that over 70% of public capital projects are reportedly abandoned or unproductive. He called for better use of public-private partnerships (PPP), which could attract over $100 billion in investment. He said that with only 8 states able to fund their recurrent budget from internally generated revenue, there is a need for reforms to incentivize state-level productivity over all federal dependency. According to him, development must be localized. Therefore, he called for clear responsibilities and adequate funding for state and local government areas to manage healthcare, education, and infrastructure. He warned that if his recommendations are ignored, we must brace for national insolvency. He noted that Fitch Ratings downgraded Nigeria's credit outlook in 2024, citing unsustainable debt trajectory. With 20 million out of school children and healthcare spending at just 4% of the budget, we are heading towards systemic social collapse, UNICEF Nigeria 2024. He lamented youth unemployment is at 53%, NBS Q4 report 2024. Hunger and hopelessness are a dangerous mix. By 2050, Nigeria will become the third most populous country in the world, but a population without productivity is a burden, not a blessing. UN Population Division 2024. The IMF and World Bank have both warned that continued borrowing without reform will make Nigeria ineligible for concessional finance and investment guarantees. IMF Article 4 2024. Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, has long been troubled by over-dependence on crude oil revenues, volatile commodity prices, poor revenue generation and endemic corruption. While efforts have been made to diversify the economy, progress has been slow. My dear listeners, now I've come to the end of our today's news. Please do drop by at the comment section and let us know what your view is all about. Thank you for listening.